Mr. and Mrs.Show, and I am the Mr.
And I am the Mrs.
I got something in my cup this time. I don't know what it is, but
I'm gonna put something in mine for the next time.
we're here. We're back. We missed the last segment, but we're back again after Father's Day. After Father's Day, I got to say it again.
I hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day. I think the Mr. did.
Yeah, I had a great Father's Day.
Fathers are important.
Very important, very important. Listen, I hope everyone had a wonderful Father's Day. As we're talking about this, I thank for everything that was done on Father's Day. Sullivan's in Raleigh, North Carolina. A restaurant called Sullivan's. I'm glad I ain't had to pay though. Good God Almighty, I tell you.
Right, amen.
But anyhow, someone blessed us real good from Germany. Paid for the meal and then some. Because when I heard it was paid for, I didn't care what I got on the menu, long as I wasn't paying. So I went and ordered the most expensive thing on the menu because it was Father's Day, and I could. But we're back on our segment here on the Mr. and Mrs. Show. Things of life, things of marriage, things that are real, not make-believe, talking about things in life that have been encountered down through the years, over 30 years of marriage. Someone said marital bliss, someone says matrimony, but when you tell the truth, you tell the truth. And every day, I don't care who you are, it's not a bed of roses. There's some knocks, some pings, there's some things that you've done, gonna go through as you are navigating the marriage, as you're navigating relationships.
Training.
Because you're bringing two personalities together, and we talk about those things here on the Mr. and Mrs. Show. Amen. So today we want to just dive right in because we want to make sure that we have time to talk during this segment about these things, and we want to talk today. We covered a lot of subjects in the last 4 or 5 weeks, but today, in relationships, we want to talk and help people deal with what I call the cycle of hurt in relationships. Let's talk about the cycle of hurt in relationships. Because when you talk to people, the first thing they say is this. This is the definitive statement. I have been hurt. And you want to find out, what do you mean I've been hurt? But it could be anything. But when somebody says, I have been hurt, how do you help somebody when they say, well, I've been hurt? Let's just jump right in. How do you help somebody when they say, they tell you, well, I've been hurt?
Well, I mean, you gotta find out what the hurt is.
Well, but that's true, but you also gotta understand when they say, I've been hurt, the first thing that pops in my mind is, well, if you're saying it now, that means you ain't over it.
Exactly.
So, even if I guess I'm saying, even before you find out what it is, I guess we need to understand them when they say, well, I've been hurt. Wow. So how long has it been since you've been hurt? I'm just asking. I'm just being hypothetical. How long has it been since you've been hurt if you're still thinking about it right now?
Well, maybe they're still thinking about it because they haven't dealt with it the way that they needed to.
But, I mean, everybody deals with certain things differently.
It's true, but they have to deal with it, and it sounds like that person hasn't dealt with the hurt.
So it could be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, what they did. What's been 20 years they still ain't dealt with?
I mean, that's bad, but I'm sure there's some people it's been that long or longer and they haven't dealt with it.
Well, okay, since we are our prime example, let's follow this in. So keeping that person in mind, because evidently it's a cycle of hurt, and they said, I have been hurt. Okay, watch this. We're married. Have you been hurt?
Sure.
How did you handle it?
Yeah, well, I was probably like that person for a while. I didn't deal with it. I kept thinking it would just, I would outgrow it, or it would go away, or things that made me happy would just make me forget about it. Yeah, so I didn't really deal with it.
So you went to a happy place.
I tried to.
That ain't good.
No, it wasn't good. It was
Go
not
to
good.
a happy place and try to forget about the hurt. That's what people do. And so that's when they come back and you're talking to them, they say, well, I've been hurt. So now they've exited the happy place to tell you that they have been hurt. In other words, they'll tell you, I'm still carrying this and I don't know what to do about it. So don't you think that's eating away at the relationship?
Sure, yeah, sure it is. It
So
is. It's not giving that other person a chance.
But what if the other person was the one who caused the hurt? Do they deserve a chance?
Well, sometimes it may not be that same person, but surely if that person has changed and has asked you to forgive them and you can really see the change, then they deserve a chance. And then if you're not going to give them a chance, then at some point you need to exit the relationship. Because if that person has truly changed, then that the person deserves to be happy. And you're not, if that person's not going to be happy if you're not happy in the relationship.
It's evident then that somebody is not, because again we reiterate this fact. If you're saying to someone, I have been hurt, and it's years, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and you're still, it is a dominant thought process in your relationship, then I'm thinking, well, you have never gotten over the fact of what happened early in your relationship, or sometime in the middle, or whatever it is, and you saying, I have been hurt. So now you got to come back to, is it a trust factor, or what's going? Why are you saying this now? Why are you venting this now? When you hear somebody say this in a relationship, I've been hurt. Are you afraid to be hurt again? Because there are cycles of hurt. When you're washing clothes, there's a wash cycle, there's a spin cycle, there's a dry cycle. There's cycles of hurt. So how do you determine the cycle of hurt that you're in? In other words, the beginning cycle, the end cycle. How do you know when you're at the end of the hurt cycle? I guess you never will know, will you?
I mean, if you're not really dealing with it, you won't ever know.
Yeah, man, if you keep going to a happy place, you won't ever know.
Like I said, if you're not dealing with it, so if you're going to the happy place, you're not dealing with it.
So what should you do to deal with it? Confrontation? Do you confront the other person or entity?
Well, you have to start somewhere, so that would be the first place I think you should start, is with the person.
Okay, so you're gonna start with the person now. So this is the scenario. So you say I have been hurt, and so now you decide I'm gonna go to the person, and you tell them I have been hurt, and the person tell you, I thought we dealt with this years ago. Now what do you do?
You gotta be honest with that person. Maybe they thought they had dealt with it too.
Maybe they thought they had dealt with it too. Okay. Evidently they haven't.
Evidently they haven't.
The feelings are involved now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to deal with it. So how do you help them?
Mm-hmm.
How do you help them deal with the feeling part? With the young people. They could be young. They could be middle-aged. They could be just starting out, 5 to 7 years into marriage, and already been sustained something. Then they could be much older, 20, 25 years of marriage. And then one comes one day and says, well, I've been hurt, that's why. I like this. And they said, well, I thought we took care of this 15 years ago. I didn't know. I thought you never said anything. Then they said, well, I've been going to a happy place. And happy place simply is I've been going through the motion. Is that fair to the other person if you're just going through the motion?
No, it's not fair to the other person.
I guess what I'm driving at. So that person, if a person has done that, then that person has not really gotten all they're supposed to receive, you think, out of a relationship?
With the person in a happy place or the person?
The person that thought everything was over.
No, they hadn't gotten everything that they needed out of the relationship because the other person has been holding back.
So how do you help that person? Now you got two people to help. The one who's still holding or harboring something, then the other one who's probably now thinking, my God, I thought, so you mean I'm having to relive this? Something I thought was buried and done with, and now here we are again, and I don't know what to do. Huh? I'm just saying, what you do?
No, that's a bad
Yeah,
situation.
it's a bad situation. So you have that because you have feelings. Everybody has feelings. Everybody is emotional. And everybody has a thought process of how they think things are supposed to be. Now, and then you have to look at the fact, what if this, you've got a person who is dealing with unintentional hurt? They didn't mean to intentionally hurt you. You can have someone that there is intentional hurt, and then there's unintentional hurt.
Well, so what's
Well, you know what
unintentional?
Something that happened foolish. They didn't mean it, nobody to get hurt by it, but somebody got hurt by it. And then there's intentional. You know what intentional is? Somebody didn't care if he got hurt or not. They didn't care about the consequences or whatever. They just, some que sera, whatever would be. That's intentional. So if you deal with unintentional hurt and you know it was unintentional, I think you don't have to go to a happy place in there because it was unintentional. You deal with it and you should be able to get it. Once you realize, hey, the person really didn't mean for this to be like this, we dealt with it. So
it's
I think
easier to get over that kind of hurt.
it's easy to get over, yeah, because unintentional, and unintentional means, also can mean this. I don't think, unless the person, I don't want to use this word, but unless the person's just stupid, he or she ain't gonna repeat the process. It's just something that happened and they learned from it. Intentional, that's the hardest one because the person meant to do it. It may not be a learning factor because they already knew what it was, and it could happen again because they didn't care about the consequences. You don't know what kind of feelings were involved when you deal with people who don't care about consequences, about what it is. You don't care about such a thing.
Yeah.
But you have, and then you have those, and people who are listening who don't understand the cycle of hurt, because it does come in cycles if you don't deal with it. Because eventually, in a relationship that's 15 to 20 years old, if you don't deal with the issues that have occurred, then what happens is, and let's look at it from this one standpoint. What happens is because there are cycles of hurt, a person can be hurt so often that they become numb.
Yeah, that's true. Or they can be hurt so often until they feel like that's what they deserve. Yeah, I mean they get to the point it's that they feel they don't seem to know the difference.
Between hurt and what?
I mean, between hurt and between a good relationship and a bad. I mean.
Well, we know that ain't good already.
Well, you have women and men out there that are in those type of situations and they just go on with it. And they stay there and accept it as their way of life. And whereas they get to the point that they feel like they don't deserve any better. Hey, that ain't me.
Don't deserve any better.
Mhm.
And most of the time when you reach that, they clam up about issues. Most of the time they do, you know.
I also know this too. A lot of times, I don't know about men, but women in church, they get to the point that they are ashamed and they don't feel like they have anybody to talk to, or they can't trust anybody to go sit down and talk to about their hurt. And a lot of times that hurt comes from a husband that's in the church. And so you don't know how to go talk to somebody about your husband. You both of you are in the church and you're being hurt by a person that's in the church that everybody sees as a man or woman of God, and you're being hurt constantly by that person. So how do you deal with that? And it happens. I know it happens.
Well, if yeah, that could happen to anyone when we don't understand headship, which is a different thing, and understand what people are misconstruing what headship is. The Bible says that the husband should love his wife as Christ loved the church. Well, Christ gave his life for the church, so everybody don't understand that. But if you come back to where the dominant question is for what we're talking about is how do you save a relationship when marriage hurts? That's it, that good. How do you save your relationship when marriage hurts?
I think it could be saved, but both parties have to want it to be saved. And both parties have to be willing to put some time into saving it.
Let me put a disclaimer here right now in this Mr. and Mrs. Show. We are not talking about physical or emotional abuse. Trust me, if you're being physically abused, get out. If you're being emotionally abused, which will lead to physical abuse, leave, watch this, not tomorrow, leave immediately and find you some help. So we're not talking about that when marriage hurt. Marriage ain't supposed to be with licks, fists, and kicks and stuff. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
or verbal abuse.
Or verbal, yeah. We're not talking about stuff like that. So let's get that disclaimer out there now. We're talking about when you're married and things come in that makes the marriage hurt, and we're trying to see how to help save the relationship when marriage hurts. Because marriage will hurt if you're married long enough. Marriage hurts when you are both working, you both have ideas, you both have seeds in your thought life that you're trying to get through, and you put them things together, and you got a destination in mind, and then one of you gets laid off. Now, that's just one example. Now, marriage hurts, and all your dreams are put on hold, and here we are.
That's something that's not intentional.
It's not intentional, but it happens.
Yeah.
And it's not a cycle. It shouldn't, now you watch this, it shouldn't be a cycle whether or not you're a man or a woman. You ain't gonna get laid off every other month. I'm just saying, you got goals in mind, and every other month you get laid off. So this is not something that a cycle, but it happens, and now your marriage hurts because now you have to put your goals on hold.
Or you don't have a job and you choosy about the job you take.
Well, man, all now, if a person don't want to dig a ditch, he just don't want to dig a ditch.
Well, no, I understand that, but sometimes you will have to take something that you don't really want to do until you can get what you want. And so while you're sitting home being choicy, that can hurt too.
Okay.
Now, I'm a woman and I know us. After a while, we gonna come home and say, "Did you go looking for a job today?"
And then the man gonna say, looking for a job is a job.
Right. Okay.
And looking for a job is a job. But I can tell you what happened on Young and Restless.
Yeah, right. You gonna be young. You gonna be young and restless.
Woo! I can tell you what happened on the edge of the night. I can tell you that right now.
You already at the edge of the night.
Those are the things that you got to bear in mind because, if you're going to do all those things. So those are things unintentional. We know it happens. And you're trying to save a relationship when marriage hurts. But let's throw a wrench into this thing. If you're trying to save a marriage or a relationship and the marriage hurts, what if the marriage is being hurt by secrets? How do you save that relationship?
First of all, how you gonna find out their secrets?
Men, women have secrets.
We don't have secrets.
They got secret stash of money.
Yeah,
They got secret everything. Trust me.
No. We have secrets like that. We may have secrets like that, but there's never anything that's gonna hurt or tear up or bust up. I can't speak about nobody else. If I have a secret stash of money, like you said,
I just said that for this.
Yeah, but I'm just using it because you said it. It's something that's put away for when we need it, or if something comes up, and he'll tell you, I will pull it out and I will do what I need to do to assist us. So there may be women that have secrets, but depending on the secret can be bad and it can hurt the marriage.
Yeah, everybody got secrets. But what if the secret is hurting? How do you save that relationship when marriage hurts?
It depends on the secret. Sometimes it can't be, Men are totally so much different than women.
What do you mean by that? I know we are, but what do you mean by that?
Because there are some things, most things that a woman can forgive and try to save the marriage, and then there's some things. There are a whole lot of things that a man just not gonna want to try and save the marriage.
Such as what?
You got some men that will be mad enough about a woman stashing away money that they'll walk away. You got men
I don't see that man. I ain't seen that man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We got men that will not appreciate women trying to, we got men that just, if it's not their way, then it's not going to be, there's no way.
Okay, that's not a secret.
It can be a secret. He can be holding it in to himself until he get enough of it, and then he out the door.
Okay. I can see it from that standpoint. I was talking about literal hard heart secrets.
Like what?
I don't know, I'm just saying.
You were talking about something.
Yeah, I'm not talking about somebody holding back. Those are feelings.
Okay, but what is it?
I
Tell
don't
me.
know, I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, if because secrets, it could be one that could derail or keep a marriage, that make a marriage hurtful. And if you're trying to save a marriage that's being hurt by secrets, it could be any secret. What was TV show? Like the show we was watching the other day. What was it? What was the show we had a man had on children? The black man who had all the children. He wouldn't let them go out.
Oh, the ditch digger's daughter.
My first time seeing it. I mean, look at that. I mean, those children had to.
There were no secrets though.
There was some secret.
Who were the secret? He was straight up. They may have had some secrets.
He won't really straight up because what he really wanted, he didn't. It was not at the end what he got. What he really wanted. Now he just. Come on, now the man was a cold. He was a slave driver. I don't give we own children. Come on, now he was a slave driver. You saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. I guess he wasn't any different than the Jackson Spies father was a slave driver.
At least they could go out, but anyway.
No, they went out. They didn't go out to play, and them children didn't either. They had a dog, and they had to play with the dog in the house.
And I was speaking in terms about the wife, not him. No, she had to hold some secrets. But she didn't want her neighbors and friends to know all that stuff. So all her life she had to keep that a secret. And that secret was killing her.
Yeah, she finally died.
And then she died young.
Yeah.
It killed her. Emotionally drained her. Physically just took her life. So that's what I'm talking about, saving. We're trying to see what these things can do. And we can help somebody not to be physically drained, emotionally drained. And so you'll be gone and the person still be here.
Yeah.
You'll be in your grave and that person will still be here, and you look into yourself and saying, I was trying to save a marriage that hurt, and now the marriage ain't hurt no more because that person is gone.
Yeah, so that tells you it's not good on your health, it's not good physically, mentally, emotionally. It's just not a good situation.
Well, how do we fix this? First of all, you got to discover what caused the hurt. If you can do that, what caused the hurt? Go back and look and say, this is what caused resentment. Now, resentment can cause hurt. A lot of people don't like to talk about resentfulness in a relationship, but one spouse can be resentful of the other. I think you're talking about money. I think that's what you meant when men resent the fact that women have money stashed. I don't. I'm trying to find it.
Good luck with that.
So you talk about it. Then you talk about it, and then you discuss it. And at some point,
Find a solution.
And the solution has to be found. Do nothing will ever be done about it. So we try to make sure that we can do it, but it can be done. If two are involved and want it to be done. Deal with your secrets. Deal with it. Don't you hold it in and take it with yourself. I'm gonna keep this to myself. I ain't gonna tell nobody. You can't do that because you will be in a relationship, a marriage will be hurt by what you are keeping in. And what you're keeping in is only hurting you and not the other person. So you have to deal with it. Then if you can talk about it, then talk about it. Now, in that case, she couldn't talk to him, so what should she have done? Because he won't listen. He's sorry, he won't try to listen. He won't even go over there.
Well, I know if it were me in that situation, I would have got my children and I would have got out.
That man won't let her go nowhere.
He won't there 24 hours now. She, it was bad because it drove a wedge between her and the children because she couldn't help them.
Mm.
She couldn't help them, and those children really suffered because she couldn't stand up and help them. So,
Yeah.
um,
So was that intentional hurt or unintentional hurt?
from her,
Either one of them.
I believe it was unintentional.
So you think he intentionally hurt her?
I don't think he intentionally hurt her or the children. It was just he had in ideas or he saw them in a place at the time that he never got to himself, and so he was going to force it on them. Was it a good thing that he was trying to put in them? Yeah, because he wanted them to be educated, he wanted them to be doctors and lawyers and be able to take care of themselves, but it was just the way that he was doing it that made them, some of them, not want it. And that can happen. It can happen with people today. I remember a Cosby show when I can't remember her name. She brought home the little boy.
Mm.
To meet the family, and
Mm.
he had already taken her to meet his family when they
That
got
was
engaged. Yes.
Ricky.
And
Ricky.
Bill Cosby broke it down to him and said it was like you giving somebody a steak, baked potatoes, fries, all that, but you presenting it to them on a garbage can lid. Okay, and so that's the thing. Sometimes it's the way you present things to a person.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you present things to a person in a marriage can make it or break it or can hurt. So in the movie, the man, his intentions were good, but the way he was presenting it was not.
So you saying it was you think his was unintentional?
I do. I think it was unintentional, but he was just so hard. It was the way he presented it.
So in our thing is, if you look at it from that standpoint, what we're talking about, he unintentionally sabotaged his marriage.
And his relationship with his children.
Which is the direct result of the marriage. So we can say he unintentionally did sabotage the marriage. Mm-hmm. So you can unintentionally cause marital pain, marital problems that you would ask yourself, can this relationship be repaired since I have unintentionally sabotaged the marriage? In that case, she died.
Yeah, he never repaired it, and she died. But I don't think he ever tried to repair it while she was living.
Now, let's ask this. Now, do you think he showed her a lack of respect? Now, because he wanted his children to be doctors. I don't want nothing wrong with that. Now, how about did at any point do you think that he showed his wife lack of respect?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Intentionally or unintentionally?
That's hard to say. But he did it repeatedly. So.
He did repeatedly.
Yeah, he repeatedly did. Yeah, I mean, she had no say in anything. When she tried to say something, he would shut her down. And not always just him and her. He would do it in front of the children. And so, I mean, you gotta be kind of really off to not know when you're really hurting somebody, especially when you're doing it like that. He had to know that this was hurting her. So, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think it was both. I'm thinking about it. Because he was irresponsible. Even though he had good intentions, it was irresponsible to think that children, when you don't let children be children, then they're gonna grow up angry. And when you don't have respect for their mother in front of them, they're gonna grow up resenting you. And then they're gonna do the exact, you saw a couple of them do, girls do the exact opposite of everything that you ever wanted to do, simply because they thought it could get back at you. And so when marriage gets like that, whether it's intentional or unintentional, you have to understand that the whole idea is repairing what is broken, if it can be repaired. So when marriage hurts because of what's been said or done, then we have to look at, can it be fixed? How do you fix it? So, and everything that we talked about today, marriage gonna hurt. No matter who you are, 1 year, 2 years in, some point, being married will hurt. It's how you deal with it, how you tackle it, how you go through it, because the relationship can be saved even when marriage hurts if you do it the right way. This day and time, too many people walk out of marriages for the silliest reasons. You know, people change marriages like they change cars. You know, they get tired of the car because it ain't got no bucket seats, it ain't got no power windows. You know, and they do the same thing with spouses, and just walk away because they didn't know how to save the relationship, because the marriage hurts. But you have to learn how to hang in there and do what's necessary to save it. You know. Again, we also let you know that by disclaimer, we're not talking about domestic, verbal, or mental abuse. That's three things that you should never stay in, ever. If it's happening to you, then you should get to a safe place at all times. We're talking about things that pertain to struggles within a good marriage that can be saved even though the marriage hurts sometimes. And so, because you're dealing with personalities, two different personalities who's come together and decide to live under one roof and grow together in marriage, not really knowing each other the way you thought you might know somebody. Because sometimes you can get into a relationship with marriage hurts when you say to yourself, and I quote, "I thought I knew this person." But you really didn't. Yeah. Nobody really knows anybody. That's why you live together, to learn to know each other. Well, that's our time for today. We hope we have said something to help you understand that you can save your marriage even when the relationship or when your marriage hurts, simply by communicating and talking about it and confronting the past, even when you say, I've been hurt, and understanding what you're really saying is, I have not gotten over it, and bring it to the forefront and deal with it, and then you both can have much success. Any final comments?
Just that one thing, ladies, every head, the husband is your head, but that head has a head, and you can always go to his head, and that head is Christ Jesus. So I remember my pastor saying that you can go to his head. So always remember that. You can always go to the head when you can't go anywhere else.
Amen. Well, I'm the Mr.
I'm the Mrs.
Till next time, see you then.
Bye-bye.